October 20th, 2011, the 42-year rule of Muammar Gaddafi came to a brutal and violent end. The former Libyan leader, once one of the most powerful figures in Africa, was captured and executed in his hometown of Sirte. But how did it all unfold? After Libya's King Idris was removed from power, Gaddafi took control of the country and became the new leader. He promised to bring prosperity and independence to Libya. At first, Gaddafi focused on making Libya rich. He took control of the country's oil and used the money to improve schools, healthcare, and housing. Libya became one of the wealthiest nations in Africa. Gaddafi introduced a unique system of government called Jamahiriya, which meant rule of the masses. He claimed it was a form of direct democracy, but in reality, he had complete control. Gaddafi had many enemies. He clashed with Western countries like the US and the UK. Libya was accused of supporting terrorist attacks, including the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Scotland. As a result, Libya faced economic sanctions, and in 1986, the US bombed Gaddafi's compound. Despite this, he stayed in power. Over time, he shifted focus from Arab unity to African unity, and even became the chairperson of the African Union. In 2011, during the Arab Spring, protests erupted in Libya against Gaddafi's rule. People were angry about corruption and lack of freedom. The protests turned into a civil war. NATO got involved, supporting rebel forces. After the fall of Tripoli in August 2011, Gaddafi fled the capital with his family and closest allies. For months, he remained in hiding, refusing to surrender. While the world speculated about his whereabouts, he had actually taken refuge in Sirte, his tribal stronghold. On the morning of October 20th, 2011, Gaddafi made a desperate attempt to flee Sirte in a convoy of 75 vehicles. But NATO forces had been monitoring communications. A US Predator drone and French Mirage jets launched an airstrike, decimating the convoy and leaving Gaddafi stranded. He and his surviving men took cover in a drainage pipe, hoping to evade capture, but there was no escape. NTC fighters soon discovered the hiding place. Gaddafi was wounded and disoriented. The exact circumstances of his death remain controversial. Regardless of the exact sequence of events, it was clear Gaddafi's reign had come to a gruesome end. His body was taken to Misrata, where it was put on public display in a refrigerated meat locker. Crowds gathered to see proof of his death, a moment that marked the end of an era. But his brutal killing drew international criticism, with Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch demanding an investigation. However, Libya's new leaders were in no mood for autopsies or inquiries. Days later, Gaddafi was buried in a secret location in the Libyan desert, along with his son Mutassim and his defense minister. The secrecy was meant to prevent his grave from becoming a shrine for loyalists. His death marked the fall of a dictator, but Libya's troubles were far from over. More than a decade after Gaddafi's death, Libya remains in turmoil, with rival factions fighting for power. Was Libya better off without him? Or did his fall unleash even greater chaos? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical content.